What's up, y'all? I am back with another book review, and tonight I will be discussing A Cold December with Jackie Snow, written by Barbie Scott. Barbie Scott actually just had her name changed to Barbie-Amor, so that's going to take some getting used to because I'm used to Barbie Scott. This is not my first series from Barbie-Amor, better known as Barbie Scott. My first series from her was a part of the Real Dope Boys of franchise, and also I read her A Thug's Worth BME series. That is like one of my all-time favorite series, period. It is a very good read. I suggest reading that. But back to A Cold December with Jackie Snow. When I tell y'all it was very blizzardy, it was definitely Dairy Queen out this bitch in this series. Yeah, it was definitely Dairy Queen. Like, thick ass blizzard, turn the cup over, nothing falls out. Like, that's what this story was. The plot of this story is, I would describe it as the story of how a boss bitch falls in love with the wrong man while settling old debts. Before I get into why I made that decision, let me tell you about the characters. There's Jackie Snow. She's the main character, main female character, and she is a kingpin. Actually, she ain't even a kingpin. She's a queen pin. Jackie Snow was a queen pin, like Griselda Blanca, all of that. I don't even know who else I could describe her as, because, no, you know what? If y'all have ever watched Breakout Kings, and they had that episode where the queen pin broke out of jail and just went on a killing spree trying to get back to her son and all of that. Like, that's who Jackie Snow was, except she didn't break out of jail. Jackie Snow. Jackie Snow. If you looked up Jackie Snow in the dictionary, or better yet, if you looked up the word vengeful and a thesaurus, Jackie Snow will be right there. Like, sis held grudges and she didn't rest until she settled all of them. The next character I'm going to discuss is Capone. Capone is a dope boy who, you know, came to buy a pack off Jackie Snow, and you know, she kind of gave him the runaround at first. They kind of had this little excuse me. Capone was a dope boy who was coming to buy a pack off Jackie. She kind of gave him the runaround. They flirted a little bit. They kind of started falling in love. They eventually fell in love with each other. And he was like literally one of the two greatest mistakes of this book. And there were two. The next character I'm going to talk about is Dez. Dez is Jackie's right hand. Like, he is pretty much her everything, her go-to, her sex slave, and I use the word slave loosely. You know what? Let's step back to Jackie Snow. You could also describe her as a black widow, because if the guys that she was having sex with in the book didn't satisfy her, she killed them. And then she brought in Dez to finish what they started, which is kind of nasty, but I get it. I mean, I think I get it.
A few moments later.
I'm not sure if I get it. I don't know. Maybe I explained that wrong, but hopefully y'all get the situation. So anyway, Dez is her right hand. He's her go-to. He handles pretty much all of her business, except he doesn't call the shots. She calls all the shots. Then there is Kango. Now, let me tell y'all. Kango is Book Bay. He is Book Bay, and he didn't have, in book 1, he didn't have that many parts. In book 2, we kind of saw him a little bit more. In book 3, he kind of showed up and showed out. Like, by the end of this series, I'm screaming, I need a Kango story. So, Barbie Scott, if you watching this, we need a Kango story. He deserves a story. And I'm going to tell you why. Kango is Jackie's left hand. If Dez is her right. Dez started fucking up, and then Kango becomes her right hand. Now, Kango's so good at what he do, he then became the right hand without too many people knowing other than Jackie, Capone, everybody else. Dez got in his feelings about Capone, and, he left room for Kango to come in and do everything that he was doing except have sex with Jackie. He was probably like one of the only people in this book that held a position of power that didn't have sex with Jackie. Then there is Infinity. Infinity is the daughter of Jackie's first love, who was murdered by someone I'm about to explain. And turns out she's Dez's daughter, and it's a whole little triangular situation about that. But I'm gonna tell you why I like Infinity. Infinity had this one boss ass part where she was in the hospital and some detectives came to talk to her, and sis checked her ass out the hospital and got ghost on everybody. Like, completely ghost. And that was a boss move. Then there's Jackie's daughter, Haley. Actually, wait, let me make sure I got the baby name right, because I don't want to be renaming characters and stuff, and I tend to do that, but I'm pretty sure her name was Haley, but we about to see.
One eternity later.
Her name was Haley. Haley is Jackie's daughter from Greg, who passed away, and we didn't know about Haley until the end of book 2. And we started seeing more of Haley because Capone kind of forced her onto Jackie, which isn't bad. I definitely understand the reasons why Jackie didn't want to be a part of her life. She didn't feel she would be a good mother. And so she kind of left her with her childhood mate who raised the child. And, Jackie took care of them financially, but she wasn't present until, I don't even remember how she became present. But I do know that by the end of the story, Jackie is a mother to Haley. And that was good to see because she kind of redeemed herself a lot on that. The things that I want to discuss with this review is, number 1, when book 1 opened, we see Jackie as a little girl, and then the first chapter hops 10 years. And so it was like it was very vague on how she got her beginning in the drug game and how she came to meet Cash Lopez. I can't really say much about Cash Lopez other than she is another boss bitch that's displayed in this story. I haven't read Cash Lopez, but she is next. Believe that. So in the beginning of the book, we witnessed Jackie being sexually abused by her mother boyfriend, and we kind of, I don't know. She was sexually abused at the beginning of this book, and by the end of the book, end of the series, she had killed everybody who played a part in it. I definitely think that a lot of Greg. Oh, I forgot a character, y'all. Calvin Norris is a detective who is assigned to Jackie's case that they're building against her, and he's supposed to bring her down. But here come the motherfucking plot twist. Calvin Norris is fucking Capone. Now, there were quite several times where, while I was reading this book, I thought that Capone was Calvin Norris, but I wasn't sure until it was blatantly said that Capone was Calvin Norris. And let me tell y'all, my hat go off to Barbie Scott, because she used the same body for two different characters and wrote them completely different. Capone is so confident compared to Calvin Norris, but that's neither here nor there. You have to read the series in order to understand what I'm talking about. Jackie's still in love with her first love, who was murdered by Calvin Norris. And so that kind of turns her off to love, and it makes her cold, along with the sexual abuse that she experienced as a child. Listen, Calvin Norris, aka Capone, neglected his family. He let another one of his co-workers kind of replace him in his family, but I guess in his mind it was okay because he was falling in love with Jackie, and that's where he really wanted to be. He ended up saving Jackie's life at the end of this. It's a lot of stuff that I'm not discussing with this book because it's truly spoilers. So I'm going to just move on to my messages and my rating. One of the biggest messages in this book is make sure your mental health is in check. Past traumas can lead you to act a certain way without explanation. It can cause anxiety when presented with certain situations. I think if Jackie had dealt with and grieved her first love properly, she wouldn't have been as cold as she was. And when I say as cold as she was, like, this bitch went into a packed restaurant and just massacred everything that was in there, and then had the nerve to sprinkle snow on top of one of the dead bodies as her calling card. Like, that is some cold shit. That is like, oh my God. My second message back to my first. So make sure your mental health is in check, because your past traumas really affect your adult life and how you live it. So that's number one. Number two is, what you won't do, someone else will. We see with Capone, Calvin Norris character, he neglected his family. His wife was cheating on him. One of his kids wasn't his. And that was all because he wasn't doing his job as a husband, as a father. He allowed that space to be had within his family, and his wife moved someone else in. So it is what it is at this point. And number three is, don't act off emotion. Act off fact. I think there was, for a fact, Jackie killed someone who was very close to her off emotion and not fact. And had she got all the facts, that person would have been alive. I think he would have added more drama to the story, but he would have been alive to take care of his daughter, Infinity. And it wasn't Greg. I'm not going to tell y'all who it was. So my rating for A Cold December with Jackie Snow is a 4.5. For me, I gave it a 4.5 because her beginning of how she kind of like got into the drug game was a little vague. There were flashbacks throughout the story, but I think for me as a reader, I kind of would have liked to seen her rise to queen pen status more. The writing was amazing. The character development was on point. When I say that I've never read a book where an author used one person, one character as two people successfully without the readers putting it together before it was revealed, like, that was amazing to me. So kudos to that, Miss Amor. You know, it's not much that I can say other than, if you read A Cold December with Jackie Snow, please hop in the comments. Let's discuss it. Tell me what you did like. Tell me what you didn't like. You know, how did this book make you feel? Because it had me all over the place. One minute I'm rooting for Jackie. The next minute I'm like, come on, like, you got to make a decision. She was irritating a little bit. And then the next minute I'm like, feeling sorry for her. And, you know, like, she really put me in my feelings with this book. For real, for real. Like, this was definitely a read that you need to read with Hennessy. This is definitely a Hennessy read. So, check out A Cold December with Jackie Snow. It's a 3-book series written by Barbie Scott. It is on Amazon Kindle Unlimited. So, please check it out. Be sure to follow Brown Sugar Reads on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And I'll be back with another review.